It's 5:30. I'll call the meeting to order. First item is Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anyone desiring to view the Open Meetings Act may do so. The document is available for public inspection and is located on the west wall in council chambers as well as on the City of Wayne website. The City Council may go into closed session to discuss certain agenda items to protect the public interest or to prevent the needless injury to the reputation of an individual, and if such individual has not requested a public hearing. Item number 4 is approval of the minutes from April 6, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, thank you. Roll call. And the minutes are approved unanimously. Item number 5 is approval of the claims. I'll move to approve the claims.
Second.
Motion and a second, thank you. Any questions on the claims? Roll call. And the claims are approved unanimously. Item number 6 is the annual Green Team update. We have Sandy Brown here and some other members from the Green Team.
Great, hello, thank you so much for having me here to give the annual update on behalf of the Wayne Green Team. I know there's been a lot of great space exploration happening in the news lately, but I do love to remind everyone that there's still only one planet that we can live on, and that's planet Earth. So even more reason to be celebrating Earth Day, which is officially Wednesday, April 22nd, to celebrate it every day as if it's always Earth Day. I just want to give a little background for those who might be new about the Wayne Green Team. We were started in 2009 by our then mayor, Lois Shelton. She put out a call to action to the community for citizens interested and passionate about the environment, and she had a great response. So what we have now become is we are a city-supported, volunteer-run organization, and I thank the city for a lot of the support we get, which is tremendous, especially during our annual electronics recycling event. Mark your calendars, that is September 12th this year at the same location at the F&BO parking lot. I'm sure I'll be back to talk about that again. So our goal is to focus on minimizing waste and increasing sustainability in our community, and we do that 3 ways. First, through our recycling programs and projects. Second, through our ongoing communication and outreach. And third, through our partnerships across the city and the state. I do believe that we've made quite an impact in our community thanks to the community's members and its leaders' commitment to being green. So that impact last year was pretty significant. First, we diverted 67,000 pounds of materials from the landfill based on the 6 unique programs that the Wayne Green Team manages, which is, as you can see up there, it's glass, electronics, batteries, light strings, inkjet cartridges, and even small items like pens, markers, and mechanical pencils. This is really unique because these are all hard to recycle items that cannot be picked up curbside. So then you know that our community members are willing to collect, sort, and take them to various locations across the city. And that's tremendous. The second big factor is what's happening at the Wayne Recycling and Trash Center, which is hard to say, so I like to say it as RTC. There, last year, over 400,000 pounds of materials were recycled and diverted from the landfill, from the baled cardboard, the scrap metal, and the mixed recycling stream that Waste Connections also picks up curbside or that people might bring there themselves, and that can be a lot of the plastics. And so when you think about that, those 2 numbers together they don't even include what the Boy Scouts are taking from paper and cans or what our green businesses in town are reusing and reselling, you know, through books, clothing, and furniture. So that's quite an impact. And one fact I like to throw out that when the Wayne Green Team started its first recycling program in 2013 with electronics, we've added on several more since then. And that amount has added up to 800,000 pounds diverted from the landfill. We're getting very close to that 1 million pound mark. And that's when I want to have a big zero waste party, right? So it's clear that our impact is making a difference. And we're fortunate that it's so easy to reduce, reuse, and recycle over 20 different materials in Wayne alone. That means we can take 8 materials to the RTC for free, 4 materials to the Wayne Public Library, and then after you drop those off, you can go check out books and use their amazing services. And again, to green businesses like Micah's Closet, Refine and Refresh, Bubba's Baggage, Thrift Warehouse, and so much more in Wayne. Recycled Reads, Recycled Rides. So, yes, there are so many ways. It's great to see all these thriving green businesses popping up all over Wayne. And you know, what's even better is there's a really easy way to learn where you can take all these things, because it's back. That's right. Recycle Right Bingo is back this year for the second year in a row, and you can win $20 in chamber bucks, which we always love to promote, right, Luke? When you take pictures of yourself recycling the various items across town and send it into the chamber office or post it on your social, for those of us who are really into social media, right? All us young people here. And you can get $20 in chamber bucks. So this is going on all of April. We've already had quite a few winners. I'd like to beat our number from last year, and so please, I encourage you to do it. And if you want one, I can easily swing by. So again, with all this great stuff, I'm really proud of what Wayne America is doing to minimize waste and increase sustainable behavior. But there's always room for improvement, right? And that's when you want to look at the data to see what trends are happening. So Waste Connections provides us every year the data that's what is being collected at the RTC. So the tonnage is showing us some interesting data. I provided a lot of, graphs, charts, and things like that, and had the help of some professor at Wayne State, Dr. Price, who really knows how to turn this thing into something visual. But one trend that we're seeing is that trash is growing in our community. So we have, if you go to the next one, there's like a fancy, there, right there. You can see, like in 2023, we were going up a little bit, but we made a big jump in 24. In fact, that was about 34% increase. And from 23 to 25, a 33% increase. So that went from about 5,000 tons of trash collected each year to 7,000 tons. Now, I don't know why. You know, I don't know that we can identify that unless we're going to do a trash audit and start digging through what's being dumped there. But it's something we need to be aware of. The other thing that was interesting is just top 3 highest months of trash last year were May, June, and July. July being the highest month. I don't think that's a real big surprise. We can speculate that definitely May's when people are moving out, and like summertime, a lot of movement in and out of the community. July, we have a lot of festival activity. So how can we bring that trash number down though? Does it need to jump, 34% from our 2023 levels? In fact, so the last 2 years have shown an incredible jump from the previous 8 years. May, we know, has been in the top, has been out of the last 10 years, been in that highest trash month 7 times. Again, that might go back to the college, but this is why we want to look at the data and what trends are we seeing in case we want to do something about it. And one thing that we can consider doing is looking at how can we incentivize maybe landlords to offer recycling services, not just trash. Now, I don't think there's any ordinance, otherwise all the landlords would be offering that. But at the new Prairie Park Apartments, which is great to have in Wayne, they have over 120 units. They do not offer recycling services. And you cannot easily pay for that at a big apartment complex like that because there's no place to put your recycling bin where others couldn't use it. And they'd add on that trash service. So it would be great if they could go ahead and consider offering recycling services. I bet you would see your trash go down a lot. Personal experience, we have very little trash and more recycling. So how can we make that easier? It's something for you as leaders to consider and at least be aware of as we look at that data. We do thank Waste Connections for providing that. It is part of the lease agreement with them, which I know is under discussion. Hopefully next month it will be finalized. But what has been a great benefit is that they have expanded their hours. They're open 5 days a week now for 28 hours a week. And I have heard from many people who appreciate having that extra access to the RTC, making it easier to recycle. So just remember, you can take lots of action this month for Earth Day, but you can also do it every day. Specifically this month, we held a great chamber coffee on Friday. Thank you to Mayor Jill and Brittany for coming to that. We really appreciate it, bringing your own mugs. You can do that every Friday, pro tip for every chamber coffee. We had a great turnout there, and then at our Earth Day movie yesterday, we had over 50 people come to a 2 p.m. matinee, which was really great to see. Tomorrow night's Mend It Night at the Wayne Public Library, one of our favorite places to be to promote reuse. And we have 3 sewing superheroes, maybe 4. You're welcome. You're welcome to come, Jill, who are going to teach people how to mend clothes. Simple repairs, sew a button, hem pants, a lot of things that people don't know how to do. So we want to help teach them so they can keep wearing their clothes. The following Tuesday, the 28th, Wayne State College Green Team, they've been a remarkable presence on campus. They're hosting a thrift swap. So we love to see that action happening within the college campus and especially our youth. Don't forget you can shop local and save green at quite a few places. Bring your own mug to the coffee shop and you can get $1 off. And all 3 of our floral shops in town are giving major discounts when you bring your own vases back. So clear out those cabinets. It's really great to see what people are doing to try to encourage that reuse and recycling. I do want to let you know that this year's Zero Hero is Micah's Closet for their outstanding work in the community reducing, reusing, and recycling. Every year, they manage to divert 14,000 pounds of clothing and shoes from the landfill. And they are selling to customers, more than 100 customers come in a month, so they're serving a great need in our community. Everything is priced about $3 an item or less. So it is really making a difference when you bring your clothes down there to donate. All volunteer-run organization, and all their inventory comes from donations from the community. So we were really proud to present them with the Zero Hero Award last Friday. My final ask, as you move forward, planning for our city in the future, just to keep sustainability in mind for your design and execution, whether it's through renewable energy, our great electric charging vehicle station outside, or as simple as twinning the recycling bin with the trash bin and having it all be really well labeled. It can make a big impact. So thank you to our city, our community, our businesses for being green and making us a bright green dot on the map of the state. Remember, every day is Earth Day. That's it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the work that the Green Team does. I know other communities look at what you guys are doing.
Absolutely.
And for making it convenient for us to recycle the battery and just everything, just making it convenient.
And we're so glad. I mean, it is pretty unusual for us, a town of our size, to recycle glass. Norfolk doesn't even have that, so we are happy, and we are always looking to add too. So if anybody has ideas or suggestions, let us know. You'll be surprised at how easy it is to ask, and something can happen based on a simple ask. So thank you for the feedback.
Sandy, do you know if those big dumpsters that are gonna show up on campus, do they go through our transfer station?
Is that like during the move-out
Like,
timeframe?
they're coming up here probably in the study week or so.
I bet they do, because isn't it Waste Connections that brings them? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know, there's a lot of good stuff being thrown away.
Yes, so if you
I can fill
remember
my
when
office
Rustic Treasures were here, for 2 years, the Wayne Green Team sat outside those dumpsters
Yeah.
for like 5 days and did a donate instead, and then Lucas Ricks would drive around with his trailer and load up, and it was incredible the amount of like futons, chairs, lamps, things that we would get. I would love to see, some more partnership with the college because it was really hard to navigate. And ideally, what would be great is if they had a place to store stuff so students, when they moved back into college, could have a thrift sale, if you will.
I think what's happening is you buy stuff here, then you have a car, you can't get it back home, so it goes in the dumpster.
Right.
It's kinda shocking.
Yes.
Some of this stuff.
As a parent of a college student, you would not be happy with that, right? So I know that like Refine and Refresh can take stuff
Yeah.
too. The bigger stuff, I'm not sure if maybe Discount Furniture's Annex store downtown would be interested, but maybe, I don't know. I mean, if we try to get the word out to the college students that you can, consign stuff and make some money back, but it takes a little bit of effort. Yeah, I'll confirm. I bet that does go through Waste Connections, and then that's what maybe brings our numbers up. But still, July was higher than May last year, which makes me think Chicken Show, maybe, and Fair. Yeah.
If it's trash in the city of Wayne, it's required to go through.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That is
It's
right.
a state institution.
Yeah.
The uptick in garbage has come too when you had a second hauler come to town that's servicing other communities, but their trucks are located here, so they're probably bringing that garbage back with them before they park the trucks overnight.
That's a fair point. And when did they come? I wonder if it was in the last,
23, 24.
that might address that increase. And the thing to keep in mind is just, the more trash we make, the faster we fill up our landfill. And then when that gets full, what are we looking at? What's next? So we want to be thoughtful of like, where is our trash coming from? How much are we accumulating? Can we reduce it? So that we don't limit ourselves for where it all goes in a landfill someday. So,
Into the, we had a hailstorm and we had a lot of construction with shingles and other just home-related things that maybe that could be the boost too. Hopefully you won't see that again,
let's hope,
Maybe
yeah.
it was just an anomaly with
Yeah.
a weather-related thing.
We'll continue to get that data every year from Waste Connections under the lease agreement from them, and we'll just keep mapping and charting it out to see where the trends are going. So good feedback.
Another summer thing might be grass too, since they accept grass clippings. That's where I dump mine is in my dumpster. It makes it really heavy.
Okay. Yeah, summertime for that. That's good. Yeah. Any other comments? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Item number 7 is the library report. We have Heather Headley here as our library director. Give us annual report.
Yes, thank you for having us. Little later this year, with some hiccups in the library world over the last year. So one of our major vendors, Baker and Taylor, declared bankruptcy last fall. So we had to pivot to find a new vendor. They were also one of the primary resources we did to collect all the annual data across the United States. So that meant every state had to scramble to come up with a new way of collecting data. And that's why we're 2 months behind. So luckily, we are all back on track. So you guys do have our year in review numbers and the lovely written part that we get to do, reflecting back over the year. 2024, 2025 was a year that I feel like both Alicia and Nicole stepped into their roles and took more ownership of the programs. Alicia really focused on trying to think about making sure we were recognizing working parents and people that aren't available from 9 to 4 to come to programs by making sure we were offering some weekend programs. We tried to get a bilingual program started last January, and unfortunately, just during that time, there's that little bit of pressure in the community of the bilingual speakers that didn't feel like coming out to a public place and maybe being targeted. So we did quickly pivot away from that, but we'd love to bring that back. Nicole also saw a lot of increase in attendance at her programming, so like her book club grew to have 12 regular people participating. Coloring night is building back up, and so some really good things have been happening. I know when you look at our numbers compared to previous years, there are some areas that we are down a little bit. Overall, people through the door, I think, was down maybe 4% compared to years prior. Again, though, we're really hoping we will build back the other way again this year. Overall, though, we are seeing great use of our computer lab. We probably have 8 regular people booked in there from about 3 p.m. until 5 p.m. After school, and we're having to keep a wait list and pivot people on and off. We are seeing great use of the wireless. Thank you for Brian for getting us our new wireless router that does the counting, because what we tracked with just figuring out who was on devices to what is actually happening is quite an increase. I think we usually caught around 300 uses a month, and now the router is saying, no, it's closer to 2,500 to 3,000 uses a month. So we do see a great amount of people utilizing our internet and our computers. We do have quite a bit of electronics checkouts that are growing. That's probably the area that we see the most growth. So I am very grateful that you guys allowed us to add in that new budget line that is just focused on the electronic purchases, because I think that has definitely been very appreciated by the community. But yeah, so I guess, is there anything you guys would like to know from me?
What is the busiest time of day?
So I would say the busiest time of day is gonna be probably that after school to 5 p.m. But I know, like, we do have a very steady morning crowd, so in the morning, there's anywhere from 30 to 40 people through the day. And after school is probably another 30 to 40 people in that 2-hour span, and then the other hours account from the rest. We usually see anywhere between, a slow day is in about 97 to 100 people. Our true normal days are about 140 to 160 people a day. So, yeah.
Heather, thank you. Thank you for all the work that you and your staff do to have a fantastic.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, guys.
Item number 8, action on the request of Diane Pieper, clerk of the Wayne County District Court, to waive the auditorium and north meeting room rental fees for a jury selection case on Monday, May 18th, and possibly Tuesday, May 19th.
Thank you for allowing me to come today. We are anticipating a large jury trial in the near future. Our courtroom holds roughly 80 people, and we are calling in more than that for jury duty. We would like to hold the voir dire at the auditorium, which is the jury selection process. We anticipate probably a day. After we select the jury, we will move back up to the courtroom to continue the rest of the trial. We feel very fortunate to have the auditorium that we can fall back on. We are asking that the city waive the rental fee and the deposit fee for the county. I guess that's my main question. There's a possibility that the date might be moved, and so I'm asking that if by chance the date gets moved, if you approve my request, that it extends to that new date as well.
Diane, how often have you had to request that you get a fee waived for like a jury selection or something that's this large of an event?
I can remember having to do that once before in the last 10 years. Right, and then that jury trial, actually, they settled before we went to trial, but I think we did at that time request that the fee be waived as well.
But yeah, this doesn't happen very often.
No, it does not. No, thank goodness.
We waived the fee, the rental fee before, but have we ever waived the deposit for someone?
I'm not sure if we have.
However, we do have a.
Yeah, yes, we do. This is not specified in that. I would argue you probably should, that on something like this, if you wanted to give staff discretion to allow something like this to happen, or we put it into that interlocal agreement for other services. So, but, and then, yeah, your deposit wouldn't be, he's a pretty big player right now in our economic development department and contributes quite a bit, so I would probably vie for the county as much as I could to not have that deposit, on hand. Unless they're gonna continuously use it, then maybe you
Right.
throw something and just let it ride, but.
And if something were to happen, I mean, the county would certainly stand by whatever need be.
Or we'll push snow in front of your building or something. I guess they could probably do worse damage to us than we could to them.
So is this normal business hours that day, or will it go into the evening, or whatever?
No.
I'm just wondering how busy the schedule is around those times, if it would change.
No,
It
it would,
probably is pretty dead, I'm thinking, this time of year.
we would start in at 8:30 and we would be out of there before 5.
If it was a Thursday night, some might rent it early to get in for weddings and stuff for a Saturday even, but I don't think on a Tuesday it's gonna be a big deal.
And I guess I should say, it would take us just one day, but if we go directly from the auditorium back up to the courtroom for court, I might need a little bit of extra time, either in the evening or the next day, to clean up our chairs and put things back away, unless one of the road crew guys could do that. I guess if I were responsible for it, I would have to ask for either the evening or the next day. Probably the evening.
I'll make a motion to approve the request of Diane Cooper, or the Wayne County District Court to waive the auditorium, rental and deposit for a jury selection case on Monday, May 18th, Tuesday, May 19th, or a contingent date if the jury selection has to be.
Second.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And you're waiving all fees on that, correct? Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you for that. Any more discussion? Roll call. The motion is approved.
We can do that at a retreat or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's,
Item number 9, action on the request of the Wayne Rotary Club to install a gazebo that will promote community and peace at Freedom or Beacon Parks. Barbara Engelbretson is here with, representing the Rotary.
And Jim
Barbara.
Split is with me. Hi, thank you so much.
Hi.
I will start out, I was going to give kudos to our green team because I went to the movie yesterday, which was Microplastic Madness, and a group of fifth graders had the courage to stand before the New York City Council, and I thought, if they can do that, I can do this. So here I am, speaking before the council. And the other thing to the library, because this gazebo is to bring people together, but also a chance to have a place to go read outside, and it is green. So I'm sharing some slides here, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background. We'll start here at the first
what do
one.
you want, Barb? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll start with the first one here. A few years ago, Rotary International, one of our goals is to promote peace. And our club is working on being recognized as a peace-building club. So we had to ask ourselves, what do we do to bring people together for peace? One of the things Rotary International has been doing is putting peace poles in different parks and places that say then, let peace prevail on earth in different languages to bring people from multicultures together. So the ones I've put up here are in English. I hope you can read the English one here. There is Spanish, and then there is German. But we can go to the next one here and look at, this is an example of a peace pole in a different place. It can have 4, 6 to 8 sides. And it would say it in different languages. And some of the languages we might want to consider as we go through here is recognizing the indigenous people who were here first, the Omaha, the Ho-Chunk, maybe Lakota. And then maybe even talk to our international students and see, you know, what languages they would like to put on there. I included Nepali and Ethiopian because I've spent time there. So those are the ones that you can't read because they're in a different alphabet. So let's move to the next stage. So some pictures here. So when we started talking about the peace pole, I shared this with the Rotaract students at Wayne State College. And several of the leaders of the Rotaract Club are in construction management, at their majors in construction management at Wayne State College. And one of them, the current president, his family had built a gazebo in another park. So this is a picture of the gazebo that his father designed and put in a park out in western Nebraska. And said, what about putting in a gazebo? And so we started talking about that and thought, you know, a gazebo isn't a place to have a big meeting, but it is a place to bring a few people together and to have a time to gather and think about peace. Or maybe this is the shout out to Heather, read a good book with another friend and talk about it or something like that. So What we have done is we visited with Lowell and Jill and explored possible parks where we might request permission to install one of these peace gazebos with a peace pole. And we could also put the Let Peace Prevail message on the pillars of the gazebo as well as the pole. Yeah, those are big, wow, those are bigger pictures than, wow, that's even better than I thought. So let's go to the design variations and slope considerations. So we were given by the city three parks to consider. The first one being the Nebraska Street Park, and also then the Freedom Park, and also the Viken Park. So we reviewed all of them. There are two things we would like to prioritize in this request. One is that when we build this, we'll look at the materials and make sure it's sustainable and doesn't need to be refinished and repaired and that type of thing, but also environmentally friendly materials that will respect our environment. The second one is to make sure that it's handicap accessible. So we're looking at the ability to get someone up a ramp onto this, into the gazebo if they were on a wheelchair or needed a walker. So when we looked at the Nebraska Street Park, we had to eliminate it, unfortunately, right away because there's no sidewalk on that side of the street. But there is a handicapped access on the east side of the sidewalk that goes to the Viken Park. And then there is also a handicapped access to the triangle that's at the Freedom Park right here. So this is the location at the Freedom Park that we were considering. And then the Viken Park, as we all know, that there's a drainage issue there, so we want to be far enough upstream that we're not worried about runoff or flooding, that type of thing. But if we get close enough to the sidewalk, there's 3 trees and a kind of a triangle area that would be a nice, there's a picnic table there right now. This is the Freedom, or the Viken Park right there. So where that picnic table is approximately where we were looking. It had the least slope, but it's high enough from runoff and close enough to the sidewalks that if we wanted to add, a sidewalk access with an on-ramp to that, that would be accessible. So, yeah, so those are the places that we're looking. We are currently in conversation with Timberline and Vakich to look at, using this design and asking them to give us some estimates on materials and how that would do. We also have the Rotaract students, and now we have a class at Wayne State College to do a service learning project where they will do the construction and the assembly once we get the materials, and then install it working with the city. Timelines, if we get down to, so the timelines. So here we are, we're talking with the city council. When we get our estimates, we have several possible sources. So the our Rotary district can get a grant of about $3,000 to $4,000. Service learning with the college students, we have 2 options. One, they can get about $500 for the class for materials and things like that. But we may also, I've been talking with the director, Lisa Nelson of Service Learning, and we're at the end of a fiscal year, and they have some extensive budget, so they have some budget they need to spend. And so she said, why don't you consider submitting a grant for that? So when we have an idea, I'm going to request a grant on behalf of the Rotaract students from Service Learning, and that could be even up to maybe $2,000. So we're looking at being able to get together maybe $5,000 to $8,000, maybe $10,000, depending on what we can do here. One other option I would like to bring in front of you, and I'm not asking you to make a decision here, but Karen Lange came and talked to our Rotary Club about the Wayne Legacy Fund and maybe applying for a grant for that. But our Rotary Club is not eligible because we're not a 501c3. But the Wayne community would be eligible. So I don't know what your thoughts are about that, but if it was agreeable with the design that we want to put in and the park where we want to put it in, and we needed a couple more, some more dollars, it might be something to consider collaborating that way. So sources of funding, depending on what we finally get, and we hope to get an estimate within a week or 2 from those 2 places. They've been working on it, so we've had it in request for a while. We will then take that, create a budget, meet with all of the potential partners and say, okay, here's what the final estimate would be, and here's where our sources would be, and just get that. So we're not asking directly for any funding from you. other than we had talked with Lowell about laying the concrete foundation, and now I'm asking, making sure it has a slope access and maybe just an on-ramp from the sidewalk, if possible, if that wouldn't be too much to ask.
And are you leaning more toward one part?
Yes, we're focusing, we decided to just focus on Beacon Park, and if that's all right with you, that's where we want to put the first one. If not, then we'll reconsider and look at the Freedom Park. So those are the two parks that we are okay with, either one, and our first choice is Beacon. So we're going to request that you would consider approving us to build this on the Beacon Park at this time. So, our other timeline, the grant is due May 31st, when we have all of this information together, and I can work with partners here at the city on, what we can do. Then in the fall, the construction management class would then assemble this, so we would we'd get knowledge about it and approval by July 1st, that then we could get funding for it, and then start the the actual building and assembly when the students come back in August and September. So the last slide that I had is that, we've been talking a lot about better ways to bring the campus and the community together, and we feel that a place at Beacon Park, because of its proximity to the campus, as well as to residential areas and the hospital in the city, has the potential for, having some, social events, just a place to, come together and maybe even have a land acknowledgement with our colleagues in Winnebago. And just, let's bring each other together and let them know about it and have an installation for this. So I will stop right there. Jim, did you want to add anything?
Thank you.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think is important would be that prior to this May 31st, we need to go with some folks out to the park and stake an area so that we can talk to the folks that are providing building supplies. This is what we are talking about. So we need to have that prior to that funding deadline on May 31st.
Yeah, so in the
So I'm
next week
available
or
to do
two.
that.
Yeah, so in the next week or two, if it's approved by the city, to go to it and then stake it out where the location.
I know I would like Joel Hanson to come along with this. There was some talk about maybe some future road
I was just saying, the three trees you're talking about may not exist when the road gets realigned.
Okay, so do you have any, do you want to, I don't know if you can bring that up and show.
Do you remember where the basketball court used to be, down towards where it's flatter?
Yes, yeah.
More in that area would probably be, because the street will have a curve in that block now between Walnut and Pine Heights, if we realign it through the
Okay, is this a picture of the park
Yeah.
right there? Okay.
Yeah.
So you're looking at down at where the playground area, closer to the playground area?
Down more in like this area.
Oh, that's kind of
Because
where we were looking.
the street will probably come like this and then curve back.
Okay, I think that's kind of where we were looking.
Okay.
That's where we were thinking, because it had the least slope, it was
Yes.
high enough that it wasn't in the runoff area,
Yep.
and it was close enough to the sidewalk, but if the sidewalk is gonna stay that's where we were looking.
Good.
Yeah, thank you.
The
Yeah.
sidewalk would go in a little ways, right?
Yeah.
North, this is where that
Okay.
sidewalk would
Well,
be
and-
tore out and moved over.
And what's the timeline for those
We
changes?
don't even have a design yet.
Okay, so, but we definitely
be a
want to, yeah, we definitely want to,
Plan
that's,
ahead, yeah.
Yeah.
that's kind of what Jim is asking. Can we go there as a
Yes.
group and then say, okay, this is where we would stake it out, this is the slope, and this is what kind of foundation would work best, and, okay, that would be great. Any,
I like your choice of Beacon Park. I believe that park is closer to campus than Freedom Park. I think it will get used more. Yeah, that park needs something.
a reason, and when we asked the Rotaract, so we took a day with as many people as could gather to walk to all three parks. The Rotaract students were all 100%. That's where they wanted to go. That's their place. So, yeah. Yeah.
My only comment will be that this council has not discussed it, but maybe Jason was on at the time when President Ramus had some discussions about acquiring the park from the city and making a parking lot. And so just knowing that that's in the background, it hasn't been talked about for a few years, but it has in the past, so.
So
just
maybe
keep-
Nebraska Street Park could be a parking lot. No, I don't know.
That'll-
I don't
that'll-
know.
There's some hackles are coming up.
We also brought it up at the retreat that the Beacon Park would be the one that would go before. I would more push towards the Freedom Line because the building has the Freedom Park up there.
Okay, so with the timeline that we have, I mean, we're okay with the Freedom Park if this is a real concern. But if this is I mean, if we're gonna be, and maybe it's one of those things where if they do decide to make it, we can move the gazebo to Freedom Park at a later time. And I'm not a construction person, so.
That's my thought, that the gazebo could be moved.
Yeah,
I just wanted to throw out that those
Yeah, that's-
discussions
thank you
hadn't
for that.
been had in the past.
Yeah, thank you. I was not aware of that.
And that's good, because if you're in the building stage, it can be designed to be more movable than,
Right,
you know, as far as footings and stuff.
yeah,
You know, so that'd be the time to do it, looking ahead just in case.
right. That's good to know. I'll make a note of that. Any other questions or comments? So,
I would just
Yeah.
add that if the city expects them to apply for like a building permit, so we're approving the construction, this needs to be an engineered building because there's nothing in the building codes that tell you how to space post and what size post should support a gazebo.
so how do we move forward as Rotarians to do this, or is this a city
If
thing?
the city council wants to waive that requirement, that's their prerogative, but if they expect me to approve a set of plans, I can't do it without an engineer's stamp on those plans.
Are most of the timberline stuff engineered when they
Yes,
design
they
it?
have
So,
to engineer. They just normally don't necessarily like to put a stamp on because there's normally a fairly substantial fee to put a stamp on a set of plans, like up to $1,000.
Okay. So waiving that, so what is the downside of waiving the engineer approval? I mean, is it?
Liability.
Okay, so we'd have to ask permission to waive that just in case there's an issue. Okay. So should I request a motion to waive the liability?
You wouldn't waive the liability, so the engineering stamp is something that protects you as a Rotarian, as the Rotary Club, because
Okay.
if you say, hey, we have this engineered stamp of approval and something happens and it collapses or
Okay.
something goes wrong on it or somebody gets injured, you can say, hey, this was engineered and now you can come back on the engineer. Where if somebody
Okay.
gets injured and it has not been engineered, it's waived, then they can come back after the Rotary. So it's,
And they're gonna engineer it, it's just that I have no
it's just
proof
the
of it
stamp,
without the
yeah,
stamp.
it's just the stamp.
Right,
For something like this is not legal advice, but
right,
just
yes.
for timeliness, you would probably want to ask the council to waive that requirement.
Okay, okay. And the other, Timberline is one of the potential, but Vakich is also another one. And so I'm assuming that both of them
Same.
know how to build things.
Same, they would,
So we don't need to make a motion for a vote, but we can ask that permission,
you need the council
So-
to waive that engineering
okay,
requirement.
okay.
Would the liability fall on the city then if we waive?
No, it would fall on us. The building is us.
Who's going to own the building? Are you still owning the?
You know,
We have insurance on our property, on the
I
parks,
just wanna
you
make
know,
sure that
that's.
if we waive the engineer stamp and something happens,
We
that
should
that
be advised
family or
about
whatever.
waiving or
they
not
want the
waiving
city
and not
to
make that
agree
decision now.
waive
We
the
ought to
engineer's
check with
just a minute, let me listen to her, and then you may.
And how long would that waiver need to be in place if something happens, they put it up and something happens 15 years from now? Is that still, does somebody could look back at this council who waived that and
I
Like
assume
it's-
that the Rotary, are you going to provide the maintenance on it and stuff like that?
Well, yeah, I think, that was the idea. That's why we want it sustainable, so it doesn't need painting every year, that type of thing. But our thought is that we're giving this to the city. We're doing this to give to the city, so it wouldn't be, we wouldn't own it anymore, but we would give it to the city.
Okay, then it would fall under the city's insurance, then it's up to you guys, how do you normally do that with any buildings if you require an engineer stamp or if you?
Trying to think of like the shelter house or the shelters down at Sports Complex.
So I was
How did,
thinking of
you know,
the
those
basement.
weren't
Yeah, I think
engineered,
all
were
that
they?
stuff,
Did
you
they
have
put,
an engineer
Engineered,
stamp.
I don't know if we got a set of stamp plans, though.
You do or do not?
I do not,
Do not, so it would be similar to that.
We'd have to go look and see.
That was too donated to the city.
Yes.
They put them up and donated them.
Your other option would be the city to pay for the stamp that protects you with liability in the future, say, we had a stamp.
So Joel, sorry, just for clarity then, there are like a set of stamped plans that, for like these, buildings, it's almost like a.
So there's calculations based on the size of the post, and how far apart they are, and an engineer, somebody with some engineering background has to do that. And if they're licensed in the state, they have their own stamp, and then they put that on the plans that they've done the calculations on.
I can check and see if somebody at the college in the construction management has the qualifications to do that.
'Cause I
Is
know
that possible?
Timberline, I don't think they do, but I know,
Okay.
because Timberline, if they have to have a stamp, they'll find somebody to put a stamp on it, because they have an engineer that they hired to do that stuff for them.
Okay. So did you want to make a comment? Because Jim is the one that's working with Timberline and Vakish, so do you have any thoughts?
My thought is that it's better to be on the safe side and not be on engineering catastrophes on TV at some point. So we want to do the right thing. You take the extra step for safety.
But there's a cost.
There's a cost, because there's no price that you can put on having something that people feel good about and that's safe, and it's not, we're not stepping into a dark area. I'm more conservative on that myself personally. And if it's timberline, it's a timber-framed structure, as opposed to something built out of cedar that would be some of the pictures you've seen. There's one timber-framed picture in there that's a little wider. It's more like an oval than a circle. And so there's a little more involved in a timberline product, and they have to be a little higher. So, and they'll be engineered correctly. So we're working with them to see where what they can come up with. So we got good people working on it. We'll see what happens. But our deadline is to get everything in place so we can write this grant that is.
So we have to itemize what it's going to cost and where. So if we need to include something like the insurance, we need to know how that's.
I don't think we waive the engineering.
I think we can find an engineer to look at it and put an approval on that.
You think the city can take the responsibility for that, or you want us to?
I think you guys can get the Timberline to engineer it. There's a cost, and we're gonna inherit it. I think it's great for the city to put in, make sure it's safe and protected, because you just don't want it to collapse.
Right. And would this be something, that we could consider that legacy fund, grant maybe to help the city pay for it?
That's what I was thinking, like, if there's a potential for grant funding for this and it's engineered, like, that's just another way to, like, provide more for, like, the legacy fund if it would go through the city.
Because all the stuff that goes in Parks and Recs, all the, playground units, they're all engineered safe, so I don't wanna put something in that's, we're gonna waive one item.
Right.
That's the one that collapsed, not saying it will, but
Yeah.
we're gonna
Yeah.
keep to protect yourself now.
And we want to be very respectful
So, I
of
think
the safety also. I hadn't included that, because I guess I assumed that they know how to build stuff, but.
So it'd be helpful for the people that are, Vakish is giving material cost. They're not engineering. Timberline, on the other hand, would be engineering a design based upon what we are looking at. So we just basically need to say, this is the spot. It can be the oval that would fit this Timberline design, and have them come out and take a look. What kind of a pad is going to go down? What kind of entryway? And that we've got that, that preliminary decision. So if I can meet with some folks to go out there and do that and just say, this is what it looks like. We need a 12-foot, 15-foot, or 18-foot diameter for an oval. We need an 8 to 10, 12-foot diameter for a hexagon. That would be helpful. And that helps us zero in on, this is what we need a plan for.
I mean, I think this is great. It would add a lot to that park, and I mean, we're gonna, as far as the city's concerned, we're gonna get a steep discount or free or however you wanna look at that. I think you guys are putting in all the effort for that, which, thank you.
It's been, you know, what's been, what started as a peace pole turned into this gazebo, and there's so many people that want to get involved, and that's, I think, really encouraging that this is bringing campus and community and friends together, and that's the point.
Yeah, if, to try and press upon you is the fact that you meet with Rotaract at the campus, and there's 12 people in the room. It's not 4.
Yeah, oh, it's more than
It's a-
12.
yeah,
It's like 20.
actually-
It's about 20.
So you've got
They've
this
got a good
group that's
bunch.
really eager, and they're basically going to do the grunt work to make it happen.
Yeah.
Once we have a location, and we decide this is the pad, and the engineering stuff goes through, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay?
I would entertain a motion from council to approve the installation of the gazebo at
Thank you.
Okay,
I done?
I'll make a motion to approve the installation of the gazebo at Beacon Park, for the Wayne Rotary Club, installation of inspection, I guess, of the site and installation of a pad with city staff, as well as sidewalk for ADA accessibility. What did I miss there, Jill?
Beacon Park.
Yep, I said Beacon Park, I think I got that.
It's Beacon Park, yeah.
Yep, okay. Yeah, that's it.
We should waive the engineering, but.
So that would be a requirement anyway, unless you guys waive it, then that is a
Good as is. I will second that.
No motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? Roll call. And motion is approved unanimously. Thank you to the Rotary for always improving our parks.
Well, thank you so much. And so, remind me, where are we standing on the waiving the engineering?
Not waived.
No.
We're not gonna waive it? Do you want me to work with somebody on a legacy fund grant for the funding for that?
Talk to me.
Okay,
Yep.
I'll talk to you guys. Thank
I'll
you
talk
so
to you
much.
later too.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Barb.
Item number 10 is action on the request of Lindsay Witt to close the east alley between First and Second Streets on Saturday, April 25th, 2026, between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. for a maker's market. We don't have Lindsay.
I'm Joe Witt, here on behalf of Lindsay Witt, 902 Nebraska Street. And Lindsay would be here, but she's home with our child who's unwell tonight, so. But this event is kind of a repeat of the fall market that we did that was really successful. We didn't do an actual head count, but just by a general sense, there was probably 350, maybe 400 people who passed through that night. And it was so really well attended and just a great time had by all. This time, Lindsay has confirmed, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and potentially a couple other vendors. So those include Hello Ruby Boutique Truck, who's out of Vermilion, South Dakota, Cafe de Meg, which is a coffee cart, Megan Pippett's Sourdough, Knotted and Charmed, which is just a macrame creation here in Wayne, Hand-Sewn Bowl Covers by Rachel Euler, McCaslin Brand, who's an artist, just a WSC grad, does keychains, prints, jewelry, H&H Design, she is also local, but does custom engravings on, different wooden items, coffee clips, coasters, keychains, and more. And then also La Cocina de Ruiz, which does tres leche mini cakes, agua frescas, sago, Red Bull infusions. And then broadly too, we'll have just music. We'll have it lit up. Our neighbor just to the north there, Fiesta Brava, has just been also very supportive of this. They loved it when we had it there last time. So they've been a really nice partner there, and I appreciate having just there's already really good foot traffic there between Fiesta and the Max, but this is just another good excuse to kind of bring people downtown there. Generally too, it'll kind of be an Earth Day themed thing, an Arbor Day events. So there'll be Earth Day Kids activities, probably within the Wild Nettle itself and perhaps outside. Let's see, what other notes were passed along to me here? Those are the main takeaways, but again, just so that there's no additional expectations from city staff, we've kind of been encouraged to figure out our own barricade, rope it off, make sure that it's obvious that the alley is closed. And so that won't ask any more of city staff to show up on a Saturday. Oh, I should have also probably clarified, this is this Saturday that we're hoping to get this done. Wayne America Inc. has also been supportive of just insurance coverage. And Luke, I don't know if you have anything you would want to just say there.
Been working with Brett Kramer at Northeast Insurance to get an endorsement if it's approved by council.
And I think that's up to $1 million, is that particular policy?
It's part of our general special events policy, and we just included a specific endorsement for this event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so obviously, the last event went all the way across to also the north side of just between there and the Wayne Herald, but we're not doing that this time, so it'll just be on the east side of Maine.
Talk to the neighbors and they're all.
Yeah, yep, supportive, yep. Yeah.
How are you gonna close it off the east side of the alley?
I think for us, just even roping it off would just be a nice way to do that, and then just signs, and I'll take any recommendations if you would. Yeah, we could park a car there, yeah, quite literally blockade it. And yeah, I'll take any recommendation from staff. If there's anything that would be of best practice, happy to do that.
Joel, do you have any recommendations for closing the alley off on the west side? Like coming down Main Street and,
Barrelin.
yeah.
You can probably go to like Dollar General stores and buy the cheap red, orange, bright orange cones that might stand out.
Sure.
Otherwise a sawhorse or something like that.
Yeah.
The orange color tends to grab people's attention if it's something that you can
Yeah,
try that with.
which I do have some orange ones.
Upstairs occupants above, where the parking's at back there.
Well, Chad and Cherry Seabeatty own that building, and so we've told them before that last time. And yeah, so they, from 11 to 3 o'clock it is, I think, for that day, there'd be limited access for their parking, which is, I think there's 4 spots there. But they didn't have any issue last time, and yeah. For that 4-hour window, they would just have to find some other place to park around the corner.
You told them,
Less-
like, just so tenants don't get stuck, like, in their apartment. and
Yeah,
not feel like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
going
we
on.
told them last time, so they were aware, and we'll do obviously the same this time if we get approval.
I think it's neat. I heard a lot of good things about the last one before this one.
Yeah.
Motion to approve the request of Lindsay Witt to close the east alley between First and Second Streets on Saturday, April 25th, 2026, between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. for a maker's market, provided that they provide their own safety barriers. Second.
Thank you. A motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call.
All right, yeah, we'll find out.
And we have unanimous approval with Joe
Stop
abstaining.
it. Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you, everybody.
Item number 11, Resolution 2026-25, approving the Water's Edge Addition subdivision agreement. This was tabled from the last meeting. We didn't have the.
Yes, we have the agreement, and Joel and I had looked at it, made some suggestions back to the developer, and the developer had no issues with those suggestions that we had made, so. I guess our recommendation is to approve as is.
I'll introduce resolution 2026-25
Water's Edge Addition subdivision agreement.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion on the subdivision agreement?
Vote yes, contingent on figuring out the apostrophe issue.
It is plural.
It is an apostrophe S.
It it is plural, there's two waters, there's the
There's two
creek
waters.
and the lake.
S apostrophe,
That's not plural, that's plural possessive,
right.
if it's S
So
apostrophe.
it's just, yeah,
Better
S
match
apostrophe.
Them, whatever they
Better
want,
match
there's no, I
whatever's on
mean,
the
it's
plan.
their subdivision.
There's
so
no
whatever they
apostrophe.
want.
have it, no.
No apostrophe?
Plural.
No apostrophe.
Plural.
We're not screwing that legal stuff. No apostrophe.
Roll call? And resolution 2026-25 is approved unanimously. Item number 12 is ordinance 2026-4, rezoning property from R3 residential and I1 light industrial and manufacturing to R5 residential. This is the second reading.
A recap on this, this could not be waived last time because we needed the subdivision agreement to be approved first. Again, from R3 and I1 to R5, to allow for setbacks to be reduced.
I'll introduce ordinance 2026-4 for approval.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call? And the motion has passed unanimously.
Like to waive the third reading.
Joel, do you have any questions or concerns about waiving?
No, it'll help, if they're ready to start applying for building permits, it'll make it better if it matches the zoning.
I will,
Or we should have asked the
Corey.
Corey, or would you like us to?
I'll make a motion to waive the third reading for ordinance 2026-4.
A motion and a second to waive the third reading. Any discussion? Roll call? And the motion has passed.
I'll introduce
Final approval, okay.
2026-4 and move for final approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Thank you for that. Roll call? And the ordinance is passed. Item number 13 is a public hearing regarding the redevelopment plan for the Quad County Property Management LLC. This is the Wayne Duplex Workforce Housing Project. Advertised time is 5:30 or 6:32. I will open the public hearing.
So this is a public hearing for the redevelopment plan. City Council's one chance to listen for TIF. I go through this all the time, that there's actually 6 meetings. 4 of them come through CRA. Council has 1 hearing, and Planning Commission as well. And technically, this is a recommendation from the Planning Commission that it complies with zoning and future land use. So we've had lots of discussion at CRA. I guess I need to bring up that part of any public financing, we want to have Architectural Review Committee take a look at this. They met on Friday. That is Jill, Jason, and Andy Hazlitt. And they recommended approving it. 2 items they had were, they wanted to clarify that it was 0 entry for accessibility, and Corey has said yes, it is, as well as the look and feel, that it wasn't gonna be all gray all day. Every
the same
unit, and
color.
Corey said, no, they will make sure that it is. Yes, they're there, yes. So those are the 2 things the Architectural Review Committee mentioned. So you 2 have anything else to add to that?
Rock down to the bottom or brick down to the bottom. Remember that?
So the only other comment was,
I'm sorry.
some some home builders brick or the veneer down to the,
The sill plate,
yes, and
and not
not,
the foundation.
and then they leave the exposed concrete. They would like to have it all the way down to the visual.
Yeah, the fronts have it all the way down to the ground.
And the picture,
The photos
the
did.
photos
The
that,
plans,
yes,
yeah,
that
I
shows
just wanted
that
to
it
make
was.
sure.
Yeah. The plans are for set of stone too, if you're familiar with it, so it's a nice stone.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
Joel, any other comments about planning commission stuff? You might not have.
I was not, but planning commission just make sure it makes the comprehensive plan, the future land use map.
2.15 TIF, I believe. Attorney has looked it over. You know, it's not, what do I want to say, it's not the city's responsibility to make sure that it cash flows. That's on the developer. If there's a shortfall, the developer has to fill that gap. So if you do your own numbers and you don't think that 2 point whatever works out, again, that's not your responsibility. That is theirs. So.
I did have someone ask me about this, and other than just being zero entry, they were, just curious if like the whole house would be like handicap accessible for like wheelchair.
So, yeah, even the guest bath, has, I think it's like a 32-inch door or something like that. And if anybody ever wants to go down there, we have these getting built like right now currently in Fremont. So, but yeah, you can get a wheelchair in them.
Cool.
Yeah.
2-bedroom, 2-bath, slab on grade, 2-car attached garage. So,
Price point?
300, 400,000, yeah. In all seriousness, we're selling these for like 270 in Fremont. That's kind of like where they are. So it just kind of, we'll kind of see where the market is here.
Yeah.
Would love to get some sort of number close to that, but we'll have to see where the market stands.
got the questions on, are they owner occupied, are they rentals? And Corey said it's what the market bears, you know?
Yeah, we would love to sell some. I mean, we would love to do that. It helps minimize our risk. But we also know that pretty much anything here rents too. So that kind of minimizes it, but we'd love to sell them.
What's the name of the development in Fremont? Like if I have somebody ask me about it and I can say, hey, look this up and that's what.
There's multiple, we don't have a full development there. We have like 20 units in one area, then we'll have like onesie-twosies kind of bounced around. But it's not like one full development in one area. We do have one coming there, but it's not ready yet.
It's gonna be a phase-in project where the first phase will be the first, I don't know how many lots, 6? 10,
Well,
5 lots with 10 structures.
Correct.
In this area here would be the first phase.
Which one? Oh,
It'd be on the east side, yeah. So you're
Lakeside.
lakeside, yes, the lakeside.
Good side, yeah. Are we getting some paving out of this?
And yes, Corey wanted to contribute something to the city, so. What part of our subdivision agreement was Fairgrounds Ave is going to be paved all the way up to the property line to extend that, so.
And that will happen during first phase.
We're gonna put a temporary cul-de-sac on, for a turnaround, for fire, for rescue, so, yeah.
Anyone else wishing to speak at this public hearing? Being none, I will close the public hearing. Item number 14 is Resolution 2026-27, approving the redevelopment plan for the Quad County Property Management LLC. This is the Wayne Duplex Workforce Housing Project.
I'll introduce resolution 2026-27.
We have a motion and a second for approving the redevelopment plan. Any more discussion? Roll call. And motion has passed, resolution has passed unanimously. Thank you for that. Item number 15 is action on change order number 1 for Harold K. Schultz Company in the amount of $16,500 for the Northeast Centennial Road Substation Switchgear and Control Panel Project. DGR Engineering is on Zoom.
I believe Paul is there. I apologize, Paul. I told Paul it'd probably be a little before 6 when we got to him. So, are you there, Paul?
Yep, I'm here.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
You want to explain what this is?
Yeah, so what that is, so the breakers themselves for the new proposed substation and then at the northeast sub that we're, working on yet. This was material that we bid out. And with the breakers, we used 25 KA breakers originally, but with some of the recent news of potentially, well, it sounds like it will happen, that NPPD will upsize their transformer in the future along with, maybe future tie transformer. We elected at this time, just be prepared for that, to go with the upsize breaker with interrupting rating. That way, if that ever was to happen, your fault interrupting rating basically it's allows your breaker to in simple terms, if your breaker at your house can only interrupt a certain amperage, but by doing this, you can now interrupt higher amperage, and that higher amperage is determined by the source that's coming into Wayne too. So that was the reason for that. So I guess did that explain that? That makes sense, Wes?
Well, never electrical stuff, but yes, yeah, it does. Clayton, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think it's just a good upgrade to get ahead of it now, rather than, come across that down the road and then have to de-energize the sub and change the breakers out, so. I think now's the time to catch it and make the change.
Change orders for 16.5 in addition to the
622,
so it's like
638.
2.5% of the original price. For the increase, good math.
And again, this is not a contractor that's requesting this. This is a city and city engineer requesting the change.
I'll move to approve change order number 1 for the Shoals Company in the amount of $16,500 for the Northeast Centennial Road Substation switchgear and control panel project.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call. And the action is approved. Change order is approved unanimously. Item number 16 is Resolution 2026-28, approving task order amendment number 6 of the master agreement with DGR Engineering for professional services.
So this agreement with DGR, if you remember from the retreat, Clayton talked about the egress circuits and how it's connecting back, and that. We also talked about the underground stuff down by Highway 35 and Centennial. So this includes those two projects into one. Again, correct me if I'm wrong on any of that, Paul or Clayton. And so the request is $191,000 for lump sum and not an hourly not to exceed $37,000. So a total of $228 would be the maximum on that. This is about, so project cost on this egress circuits, or is that close to $2 million? Paul, do you know what those estimates are?
Yeah, so total project cost for the distribution, those three projects was like 2.5 million, which was, we included about a 2 million for labor and materials, 265 for contingency, and yes, 228 for engineering.
So I like to know that is the person, you just kind of look at percentages and stuff, and I think that's very much in line with a lot of the other stuff. Which we don't do a lot of electrical, so it's hard to compare what we do electrical versus what you do for civil, and it's within line in my thoughts. It's a lot of money, but it's a big project. And that's just a portion of your substation. We always say $8 to $10 million, but at the end of the day, this is just $2 million of it, or 2.5 million. What's the timeline? I can look in your scope here, Paul, but since I have you, it's easier just to ask you.
Yeah, so, we would, obviously get started on the design here, this summer. Potentially, the biggest thing is materials with electric, in the electric world is, once we have a design and kind of, nail down that is getting the materials ordered, with the longer lead time, in this case, cables, and then if we need any more additional switches. So, potentially, we could start, some of the work this fall. I think the city might start some of the work along Highway 35, pending some of the materials. But then the rest of it, the egress circuits, that will be in 2027, along with, the substation project that we have going on right now too, so.
I would also mention that this is for full service. This is your design, it's your bidding, it's also your construction administration. So we'll have another engineer they just do it a little differently, right? That's just, it's the engineer's perspective, so, or their prerogative on how that's.
With this being an amendment to a task order, and given that we don't know the exact amount, that there's estimates here, do we need to include the price on this resolution?
I would use the 228, not to exceed the 228. Hourly, we hope it doesn't get to that amount, but I'd say not to exceed the 228. Is that fair, Paul?
Yeah, so the lump sum, the way that is, it's not to exceed in the lump sum. The hourly estimate, that is an estimate, but we, like you said, we hope not to exceed that. If we get into where we have a difficult contractor and we have more work involved in our part.
The 191 is not to exceed, Paul, and then the rest would be an
Correct.
hourly estimate.
Correct.
How would you
Yep.
want that done? 228, if it goes over 228 to get council approval.
For any.
So say
overages.
not to exceed 228, and then if it's running close, we will
Come back
bring
to
something
council.
back to council.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the best way.
With that in mind, I will introduce resolution 2026-28, approving the task order amendment number 6 of the master agreement with DGR Engineering for Professional Services, not to exceed $228,000.
There we go. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call. And the task order amendment has been approved unanimously.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Item number 17, Resolution 2026-29, approving letter agreement amendment number 2 regarding rebidding services, construction services, and construction phase services for the Prairie Park Phase 4 Ball Fields rebid project. Taylor.
Hi, yep, Taylor from Olson. In front of you, you have the amendment to the original agreement for Wayne Prairie Park Ball Fields, and this is for the rebid services and then also the construction phase services of the project, which would include construction administration, construction testing, and construction staking. So, yeah, if you have any questions on it.
So
Can
a
answer 'em.
little different from like the electrical side, that this is only for first of all, for the rebid part. Taylor had actually asked me after the rebid if he could bring something forward for us to consider for rebidding. I said, yeah, you did that, our choice to ask you to rebid. But then the bigger, obviously, portion is for the construction management side of this. You've already approved the design and all of that from the first, or for the design side. They didn't lump it all together, it just depends on how engineers bring that forward. Olson has been more of do the design and then you come back for the construction services. Does that
Yeah, I mean, we do it.
At least on this phase
Yeah,
project.
we do it both ways. I personally, as the project manager, like to do it this way, so. But,
And next time around, we will look at possibly a pavilion.
yes.
Right, the phase
Yeah,
5.
and that, I didn't want to lump this,
Yeah,
I didn't want to lump this together with the baseball fields, and from our, I guess, bookkeeping and perspective side, I wanted to keep it separate as well, so.
Phase 4C
Yep.
expenses.
I'd like to use resolution 2026-29 with the rebidding services, as a lump sum fee in the amount of $4,000 and construction administration fee, not to exceed $75,000.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, any concerns? Roll call. The letter agreement number 2 is passed unanimously. Item number 18, thanks for sticking around.
Thanks, Taylor.
Item number 18, resolution 2026-30, approving task order number 252018.00 for the 2026 electric utility rate study phase 1 project. This is with JEO Consulting Group.
That they didn't show up. No, they, Roger apologized, but he's dealing with some parental issues down in Missouri, some aging parents. And then the electrical engineer had some personal conflicts tonight that he couldn't make it. So I said, I'll take this one. This was something you guys had asked for a couple retreats ago. I got a number and it was like over $34,000. And I said, no, that's a little excessive for at least what I want to do. I just wanted a simple rate study. Let's get rates adjusted. And so it was kind of a three-parter. I wanted the immediate, let's look at where we're at. We need to get rates adjusted. We have not adjusted rates since 2019. I think that's insane. That's on me. We have not looked at it since then, but there's been some serious increases in everything, right, since 19. So the three parts were gonna be something now, and then I wanted something done after we start our new Nebraska agreement, and that we are our own market participant in the SPP. How much does that save us with capacity? And do another rate adjustment at that point. That rate adjustment may not be a positive rate adjustment, that you never know what that's gonna turn out, how much money we'd be saving. I doubt rates would go down, because on the other side, you're looking at potential generation. And then I wanted something after generation would be installed. That will be years from now. And so JEO did not want to do that all at once, and I totally understand why. So they wanted to piecemeal it out, and so that's why it's way less than if they would have done something right now, and kind of lock themselves in to that. So $6,500 I thought was reasonable. What we'd get would be a review of everything we've got now currently, and then as well as a new rate for off-peak or what do I want to call it? I'm losing it's probably in here someplace. Luke, can you help me out here? What? Non-interruptible, or interruptible, sorry, an interruptible rate. That is due to, it's not industry specific, but we're having some conversation with a crypto miner. And if they would come in, they would not want to pay retail rates. It just doesn't work for them. They have to have a cheaper rate because they use so much energy. And so then you figure out what that margin would be, and if you want to put it on your system. And so we're going after all the current rates to be updated, and then also to look at that. Likely you have regular commercial rates right now, and you also have a Great Dane rate, if you will, and a Wayne State College rate. Wayne State College will be, we won't call them those types of rates. It'll be the Wayne State because they have their own WAPA allocation, so they're just a different customer. And then the Great Dane rate would be more of an economic development rate, that any business using this type of energy, this type of electricity with a current current, or a certain load factor and that type of thing would get that same rate. So it wouldn't be picking and choosing which company you wanted to give it to. If they met these criteria, they would be allowed that rate. So currently, we have, in those rate categories, we have one at the Wayne State rate and one obviously at the Great Dane rate. So I muddled that up a lot. Does that, what questions do you have on what they would be doing? Again, our current rates would be updated, as well as a new rate for interruptible service.
And this is just for
Just electricity, yep. Water and sewer, we have, our last rate, we'll have another rate adjustment in January for the third. Last time you were around, you guys approved it for 3 consecutive years. And then after that, I'm sure we'll take a look at stuff again. Right now, we're spending down a lot of electric cash. And so that's part of the reason for doing this as soon as possible as well.
Just so that, like, it's something that we discuss again at this meeting, at least from my understanding, this rate study would be so that we could tentatively show minor increases instead of a, like, 30% rate increase all at once, so that utility bills don't go crazy.
I don't know what this will come back at, honestly.
We'll still have to approve it.
Right.
Well, yeah,
This would
absolutely.
just give
Th-
us-
They're gonna give you a recommendation of these are what
Yeah.
rates should be, built in your probably bond payments on the substation project. Okay, so if that substation project of $10 million, we're paying cash now on that, but we can't pay $10 million worth of cash. And we have an ordinance to back it up saying that we can then bond, we can bond the full amount to be reimbursed back to our cash. Don't know if we'll need to do all that. That'll be something that Beth and Eileen Turner will have to decide, present to you guys or the finance committee to decide what you want to do on that side. But, yeah, I don't know what rates will,
I would assume they're gonna go, or they're gonna say we need to go up.
well, again, think about 2019, what happened as of 2019, we went up 4% or 4.4% in 2019. And I'm not sure when the last one before that was. But from 19 to 26 here, and with COVID and just stuff has just been blown out of the water. I mean, it's doubled, tripled in the electric department. Yeah. Now, your rates aren't going to double and triple, but when you say, I don't know what it'll come out. So.
It's gonna give us a percentage of Nebraska rates, like other cities and systems they have, or?
We get that every year anyway. You mean how we compare to other
Yeah.
communities? We get that on water, sewer, and electric every year. We can get that out to you.
Everyone counts on, they were on the high end at that time.
On electric,
Yeah, I thought it was like.
we were high on sewer. I think we've been kind of in the middle on electric and water, if I remember. I can get you that stuff, though.
I mean, they're gonna put in the new system, which you said is $10 million, so it's gonna be a big factor.
I'll introduce resolution 2026-30, approving task order number 252018.00, the 2026 electric utility rate study, phase 1 project, to JEO Consulting Group, in the amount of $6,500.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll
call.
And the resolution has passed unanimously. Item
Number 19 is action on mayoral council committee
appointments. You guys look at the list?
You see your name?
You happy with your
Are
list?
you okay?
And
Switch?
this does have an update to add Jason Karski to the Audit Finance Committee. You're still on. Do you want to come off of that committee?
Yep.
Oh, there
And
you
just
go.
attend whenever you want to?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I
I
thought.
think that's what.
I think
yeah.
that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
So, let's see, so electric, that should be, we kind of wanted to change that to utilities,
Oh, yeah, yep.
so. I didn't make those changes on there yet. So electric would, if Yeah, if you would change that to utilities committee.
I actually love it secretly, because I don't know anything about it, and I've learned so much.
I mean, I could try, but it would be like.
Thank you. I like to ask Clayton dumb questions.
I will entertain a motion to approve the committee appointments.
Motion to approve the mayoral council committee appointments.
Can you subtract Jill from the audit finance?
Yes, sorry, with the stipulation that we remove Jill from the audit and finance committee and change the electric committee to utilities committee?
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call. And the council committee appointments is approved unanimously. Item number 20 is crossed off here.
Yeah, when we can give you a quick update on that. Two items was a zoning requirement that NIFA had requested, that needed to be, pretty much, the city had to present a letter to them stating we would rezone, this will be rezoned. We can't give that 100% guarantee, and the timing would have been such, would have been very difficult. They had a May 9th deadline. But the bigger factor is probably they had also another funding mechanism, CH3 or
H3C.
H3C was some funding source that they had through the medical community that we had a really good, Nicole Hagelin at the hospital was very supportive of the project. I think there were some good things that we were gonna work into the project, and they learned at NIFA that funding had dried up or it was already taken. And so I think that was probably the biggest item, and they're like, hey, no big deal, we'll just pump the brakes here and we'll do a better application next year at this time. Well, there's not saying that the property will be available or anything like that, but, so, no purchase agreement for tonight, and that's kind of an update on that project, which, so, I think we can make it even a better project if they submit next year.
Yeah, maybe a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I mean, they do this, they're throwing darts at the map and saying, what are the communities that can score well with this application, and Wayne was on that list, which is great to be on that list. So, yeah, they do that towards the end when they scramble, and they ran into, again, a zoning issue, and then I think the healthcare part was probably even bigger. And I don't know if you wanna, I mean, you can think about what do you want if you want that to be rezoned, it's currently B1. They actually, the plans we had seen, they were R3, and I would not ever make that an R3 district. And they had designed some things as an R3 district with really large setbacks that, I don't think you want those types of setbacks on the main street. And so, if you're gonna rezone that, I think a B2 would make a lot of sense, but I would not go any more than that, so, and we can discuss more going forward. They, of course, want stuff done very fast, they'd love it to be rezoned next week, but we don't know that process. And zoning, you're not gonna say, well, we'll rezone it, and then it's contingent on a NIFA application 9 months from now or whatever. It's like, that's not how zoning works. So, we'll work through the process with them.
I don't know how Joel feels about it, but just my personal, I think that based on how I would like to see that property developed, getting it to a B2 zone sooner rather than later sets us up for any development, not just this developer.
What's the difference between B2 and B3, Joel?
What can go there? So B1 is no residential, and B2 allows for residential in the back part of the lot or a second floor. And then there's some
component on the front,
there's-
first 25 feet or so.
Yeah, and then there's some other uses, like, for example, like the construction, sales, and services can go in B1, that cannot go in B2. And basically, the rest of the block is B2 going north. You have to jump across the street, B1 goes there south from Fairgrounds. So Fairgrounds makes sense, it'd be the right place to break the zoning map.
What's south of Fairgrounds?
B1.
Is that something that the planning commission needs to like?
Yes, they have to make a recommendation first, so that, the first step is if the city council made that request, it could be on the May planning commission meeting to discuss it. And, well, actually, we may not have a meeting until June because, May falls on Memorial Day and we can't move the meeting one week to the other because of council. So probably skip to June.
So I guess how do we move forward and like put it out for listing that it's for sale? I mean, some people think it's for sale, some people it's not. Right now, it wasn't really for sale.
Is it on your website, Luke?
We have a better, most of Luke's stuff is listed as no price, and that's very difficult. Everything's negotiable. This one, I don't think we want to put a price on, but we've had some conversations with you that we know the price range. So,
Would it be a beneficial as a council to move forward and list it for Luke to be able to push it more? Or have people reach out to Luke knowing that they find it that it's for sale?
You mean as a realtor?
or just
Just as a
internally,
city.
just as a city? Yeah, we could slap a sign up there pretty easily for sale.
So
and-
that he can have it on his website, that it's for sale. Obviously, we're not sitting on it and gonna keep it, we wanna sell it, so.
Would it make sense to have it rezoned before we do that? Cause like I know the one that sits behind Jimmy John's has like the zoning on the for sale sign, or you just put a for sale sign up and then worry about the zoning depending on what would,
The use?
yeah.
If you say you want there to be residential on that lot, then you have to rezone it to something other than B1.
Well, I don't think we limit what could go there. If somebody wants to buy it.
Yeah, if somebody wants to buy it, how do we limit it?
Yeah.
Prerogative. You can, a former mayor was very much in favor of downtown housing and wanted there to be residential on that property. You could probably rezone it to R3, have all residential, you know what I mean? So I mean, it's whatever your thoughts. True, yep.
And I'm not sure the lot's big enough that you can have options. To me, it's either staying what it is or goes to B2 because otherwise you're likely spot zoning. Because there's no residential in the area.
I like the idea of B2 since you have the neighborhood to the north existing.
Purple is B1.
Yep.
And so you,
Taking it off and you would just flow into B2. That lot.
But I think if you have that zoning designation, you can encourage developers to make it match a lot easier to what is to the north, and then it flows with everything.
And we would need to request that zoning change as a city because it's our property. Unless you had a purchase agreement with somebody, they could probably do it on behalf, but it's our
property, so we need to be.
I guess I misspoke because there is R4 adjacent, so you could rezone to R4 too.
Yeah, if you wanna, we could
I'm
definitely.
just speaking for going around with my election coming up, 90% of people are away with properties and we've got them, they're not listed for sale. So, I'm just.
I think because we wanted to control that down there. That's why it's not listed for sale like with a realtor.
I don't think we need to list it for the realtor, I just think we need to post some signs.
About like an available
Available
property,
property, yeah.
accepting proposals.
Yeah.
Something, and there's somebody.
It helps out Luke to get people calling him.
On that note, I do think rezoning into B2 does make sense, because it's, at that point, you can, okay, we have mixed use, and then we can, if somebody comes in with that idea of, we need something different, you can always change that, too.
I would like to request, for the planning commission, would it be rezoned at their next meeting? But I also think that it needs to be listed as an available property immediately, just because, I mean, if nobody knows that it's available, nobody knows it's available.
You mean have the economic development.
Yes.
And we can throw a sign on it as well.
I mean, I can understand where maybe Chris is having some constituents that wanna know what properties the city owns and what's available and what's not. And if that was, I mean, it's been sitting vacant, at least the majority of it for a couple of years now. So I feel like it's time to like really start showing that it's.
I will tell you, we had
No interest in selling that property with,
CarQuest where they were.
And then
So-
spend it on
If he-
City Hall.
there were a lot of a lot of dominoes that had to fall in place there, and so once that happened, and that, I mean, what did that happen, last August?
August, September.
Yeah.
So they haven't been there a year to their new place.
So we were kind of waiting for that puzzle piece.
And since then, we've had some serious conversations with two different developers on that property, one being this last one with the purchaser. So we definitely aren't being quiet about it. I mean, Luke's not making it a secret that it's not for sale.
Maybe it just helps in the eyes of the community.
Sure.
More than anything, and if we have two developers that have shown interest in it, the more that we can spread the word.
And that's why it's good to have this conversation. It's on the agenda that we're entertaining a purchase agreement on this. Yep, we were, but now they don't want to.
But we can still work towards making it easier for them to file this application next year, like we can be proactive about it and instead of a week deadline to get everything
Yeah, and that's not on
done.
us, that's not on
No.
us. They came to us at the 11th hour, and I will say, I will pat ourselves on the back, and Luke and Joel, we jumped through every hoop they threw at us, and they were incredibly receptive to it. I mean, they were very complimentary of Wayne, so.
They were.
That's why, yeah. Yeah, so, I think we did what we could, and you guys did what you could to help them out. And they were, you know, the purchase agreement they were fine with the parameters you were putting on things, and so, just. Wasn't meant to be this year, I guess.
Okay, anything else? We are adjourned.
It wasn't as long as I thought it was gonna be with the number of agendas.
It already got changed.